We are now talking about Star Trek Discovery. After 57 years, Starfleet can finally quit warp travel in Discovery Season 5.
Yeah.
Why are we talking about this, man?
Well, so it's interesting actually because things change. So this is an article by Screen Rant, and normally we don't cover things that aren't like really newsy. So, but this is like a thought process here by John Aquila. Wow, it's a weird word.
Aquila.
It's a weird one. But basically, and this is a really great observation because if you're following Discovery, and I know you're probably not, but we are because we're still sharing it.
If you're following Discovery, which you're probably not.
Oh, I do have some interesting news. Can't tell you how I know this, but or how we know this, but Discovery Season 5 is going to be a lot less whiny.
Yeah.
So even the people involved with Discovery Season 5 are kind of aware that they went a little too whiny during Season 4, a little too like off the rails with their their mental distress.
A kind of aware is actually like totally generous. They literally said.
Yeah, well, yeah. There's like, that's so. Apparently, Season 5 is going to take a completely different mental attitude. Now, not that means you're going to come back and watch Discovery, and we're not saying that you should, but there is something important about Discovery that is going to affect all of us at some point if you're a Star Trek fan, and that is that dang Spore Drive.
The Spore Mushroom Drive.
The Spore Drive that was created, way back in the 22nd century, I think 23rd century, and now is 900 years into the future, is apparently replicable.
Yeah, but there's so many problems with this because didn't they, at some point during the Discovery seasons, didn't they say that like using the mushroom drive hurt the mushroom drive?
Yes.
Or the network?
That's not the case anymore.
The mycelial, what's it called?
It only hurt the mycelial network in the TOS time frame.
But not in this time
in the future, apparently. But here's the thing.
They bastardize Star Trek canon. No, I'm sorry. They bastardize Star Trek canon to the point where they lose the majority of their audience, and then 4 seasons later, completely ignore their own internalized, bastardized canon.
It's the future, Brian. Things change.
Mind blown, man.
Well, when you think about it, remember there was no warp drive travel. So if you guys aren't familiar, the burn happened in the future, and this is all canon. So there's really no way around it. It is what it is. The burn occurs in the future where there is no warp travel.
Right.
And Discovery shows up, and essentially they fix the problem. There is warp drive travel now, but they also can replicate the Spore Drive, and apparently because
no.
Not just
wait. There was warp. No. So you can still travel in warp, but I guess it was that they blew up all the dilithium.
No, well, the burn made it so warp power was gone, right?
No, they made it so that it was like really hard because there wasn't any dilithium left.
Oh, okay.
Because it blew up all the dilithium, and coincidentally, the person that was responsible for all the burn also lived on a planet full of dilithium. So like they solved the burn and found the dilithium.
Sounds like a plot device, Brian.
Sounds like Shane. It's literally 2 plot devices in one. It was like, let's double down on the plot device.
Well, that's what we generally get. So we don't really want to talk about Discovery.
Sorry.
What we want to talk about is the fact that the Spore Drive, the future of Star Trek done with warp drive. It could all ships be fitted with Spore drives. And that means no more warp travel. It would mean instantaneous arrival anywhere that they want to be.
It's bad.
In the mycelial network. There's 2 reasons why this is interesting. A, I can see it 100% happening because when you're making a TV show, it would be much faster paced TV show if you could just arrive everywhere you want to be all the time. Rings of Power did it. It's called fast travel. Right.
But it's a video game term. We call it fast travel.
But Discovery did it when they said, "Oh, Spore Drive." And so when we found out that Michael Burnham's boyfriend can log into the Spore Drive as well, Book, yeah. Now that Book can do it, pretty much, I guess almost anybody can. So
no, but it was specific to Book. Okay, so Book was actually special because his people had the ability to talk to animals. Right. Now, here's how they solved. When they gave you when they showed you that Book had the ability to navigate, not just Stamets, they also solved that problem by the 10C ripping through his planet and destroying all the other people that could have that ability.
So maybe there will be no more Spore Drives because all of his people are dead, and it's just him. but it's interesting. The thought process is interesting, and this is why I like the article, because it would change Star Trek in a lot of ways. It would make things a little faster, and I really don't have a problem with a in the future developing a device that gets you there quicker than warp speed. Like, that's okay. I mean, the fact that it was created back in TOS timeframe is lame and dumb and should have never happened. But like, if they had gone to the future and there was like a Spore Drive technology already existed in the future, we really wouldn't have had a problem with that, right?
No, I will support my previous statements that if Discovery season 1, I'm not even going to try to justify the other 4 seasons, but if Discovery season 1 for 3 seasons. If Discovery Season 1 started in the future, then I think a lot of people wouldn't be as annoyed with Star Trek Discovery, and it probably would have changed just changing where it started would have changed the face of Star Trek. We might not even have a Strange New Worlds or Picard. Well, we definitely wouldn't have Strange New Worlds. Like, it would be completely different, because if it had started in the future, then a lot of these canon issues and like the bastardization and foundation ripping of Spock and TOS era wouldn't have happened. And we could have expected a Spore Drive. I could have accepted a Spore Drive in the future after all the warp stuff that we're aware of. Sure. Why not? I think it's I still think it's stupid, but
I mean, but I don't think it's stupid for the future. Like, we have wormholes. We have lots of different ways to travel quickly from place to place.
Right, but there's existing technology, though. There's transwarp travel. There's other technologies that are better than warp that we have heard of, or that they've been working on for 30 years. I'm not sure why they would have to jump to a mushroom drive. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I guess you're right. I mean, that's true. There's still an instance of travel that's involved. So, but I would have accepted 900 years later that there was a Spore Drive. No problem.
Sure. Okay,
Because we know about transwarp drives. We know about wormholes. This would have been a new thing in Star Trek, and it would have been fine. It also would have changed something, because a lot of the stories in Star Trek take place while traveling from here to there. So a lot of the interesting tropes about Star Trek are things that happen on the ship while they're traveling. Mm-hmm. And so if you take that away with a Spore Drive, all those stories will actually disappear. Because there will be no, oh shoot, we broke down on the way to Metalis 4.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point. A lot of like I'm going to disagree, Shane.
Okay.
I agree with what you just said, but I think that we are both being proven wrong in real time right now, because Discovery still has plenty of its emotional exposition, even though they can be anywhere at once.
I'm just saying. I said the stories were good. I didn't say the Discovery stories were good. and here's the thing about the Discovery stories: a lot of it, almost all of it, involved some civilization they were at, or somebody they were interacting with, a different culture. There was very little inside the ship stuff that was interesting, unless they were all visiting the psychiatrist.
Right.
So like, that was like the only thing actually happening on the ship. And everything else was happening because they were going from place. So you would lose the interesting, like getting stuck in a nebula, or, oh my gosh, I got too close to this black hole, or the people from this hidden planet, put us all to sleep. And because we figured it out, now we're all going to die. One of those episodes.
Or the warp drive is killing the space fairies.
Right. Yeah. Or it's causing holes in the space. Yeah. In space time or whatever. So that would change it. So they could, if they really wanted to, change how Discovery is made by giving everyone those drives, and it would actually remove warp drive. Would you miss warp drive in the future, or warps, going warp speed in the future? And do you think that would be good or bad for Star Trek?
I think it'd be horrible. And I gotta tell you, it's not just the travel, what you're talking about, the stories that can be told in traveling. But what about when you're being chased? What about
you would no longer be chased?
Looking for this person, like there's a lot of big parts of stories. Like I almost blew something right now, but there are big parts of stories where, finding each other or traveling or chasing someone or whatever or explore. What do you have to explore? Like when you just go everywhere, like.
Right.
We're gonna go explore the nebula. We're done.
You get there and then like boom, I guess you deal with the nebula. There's just no longer the time it takes to get there.
I found it hilarious. I remember I was watching the last season of Discovery, and they were like they replicated the Spore Drive. And when I saw that Book had it, I'm like, oh, we're in trouble. They can replicate the Spore Drive, and like Book's people can navigate the network seemingly better than Stamets can. Right? I'm like, oh, we're screwed.
Well, they're going to find a whole civilization of Book's people on another planet somewhere.
And then they destroyed his planet. I was like, oh, okay, they solved that problem.
Yeah, and we're also going to learn that the Kelpians can do it.
Right.
Because of some weird reason.
It's going to be something. You're right. Yeah, so the problem with this is like it just doesn't, it removes a lot of the storytelling, or it makes it real cheesy, or it makes everything a plot device. Someone's Archmage Frey mentioned the Iconian gateways in the chat. And the Iconian gateways...
All you got to do, guys, is say Iconian gateways, and Brian will immediately stop and talk about Iconian gateways.
Stop.
That's how much he loves Iconian gateways.
Stop. No, that's not true. I do love the Iconians, though. I love the Iconians because they're a fascinating species, but I would argue that I understand why they haven't really gone back to the Iconians, because it's too OP and makes for bad storytelling.
Oh, well, Discovery Season 5 will definitely probably revisit that, because we know that they're going to find some old power. Yeah, that's like our theory is that they're going to totally ruin the Iconian story next.
Right, yeah. No, we actively think that Discovery Season 5, based on what they've said and what we've read, is going to ruin the Iconians. Wait, hey, we already ruined the Watchers. Let's find the next OP ancient civilization that we know nothing about, but everyone's been asking about for questions about for 30 plus years. Let's get that one and destroy that one too.
How about the Gate of Time? We've ruined that too.
We ruined that. We ruined the Gate. I can't believe. And they made it like a person, bro. Like a city. Like, oh, it's so bad.
Well, now it's like alternate realities and stuff, and it's like different dimensions.
Oh, it's so bad. I remember reading all kinds of books about that too, and like how like they were studying it, and I was really into it too. And then they just ruined it. They ruined the Gateway. They're gonna ruin the Iconians. In fact, there was a moment in season 4 when they found like this species of like that we've never seen before. They were like traveling in space. And I was sitting there like, oh my God, please don't be the Iconians. Please don't do it. I literally paused it and I was like, listen, to whoever up there that will hear me, don't let it be the Iconians. And then I played it and it was like, an unknown species. I'm like, okay, all right.
Yeah, and then season 5's trailer is like, they find an ancient power.
It's like a gateway. No!
They were the and then it cuts out.
Oh my God, bro.
No, I'm just kidding. That didn't actually happen. But they do find an ancient power, and it would be interesting. Hopefully why do they got to find anything ancient? Like, just keep moving forward.
Yeah, I would argue the Gorn were a little bit not ruined, but I would say that
they were ruined.
No, they weren't ruined, totally ruined.
No. I'm sorry.
No. There was a misstep. I still think the Gorn can be saved.
I'm sorry. Well, here's the thing. I'm concerned. And Strange New Worlds, for whatever, is way better Trek than Discovery. And I really enjoy Anson Mount. There are issues with that show. But the biggest problem is that the Gorn basically became aliens from like the movie Aliens. And I just, God, I hate that so much.
That whole episode was just horrible. They killed our favorite character for no reason They took the Gorn and they made them cheesy, sci-fi horror movie characters. But the reason I say they can be saved is because we still have not seen what the next two stages of their life cycle is.
Yeah, when I see an adult Gorn, I guess I'll judge completely.